People are obsessed with problems that they don't have. Why? What do you think that is?
Because you avoid your own problems.
Exactly. Because it gets you to avoid your own problems, but still feel good about solving a problem. Say you feel productive, you feel smart, you feel like you're moving up, but you aren't. There are two main ways that people do this. And this is so rampant in the self-help and spiritual community. Number one, you focus on problems that your friends have. I hear this all the time. Julien, I love your advice, but my friend, they're dealing with XYZ, and I try to tell them this, and da-da-da-da-da, and it's all about the friend. All their questions are about the friend. Or, I feel like I would start being happier if they were happier too. So it's really about them again. We got to help the friend, help the friend, help the friend. Screw your friend. What about you? And guaranteed, when you watch videos or hear ideas, maybe even this, you're like, oh, there's a friend who totally does this. You're already on the friend. Oh, that totally applies to John over there. He's a total deflector. What about you? Okay, so we do it with others, but then we also do it with future potential problems. Here's the common example. Say you want to work on your health. You want to get in shape. What's the easiest, most immediate way to do that? Start exercising and have a better diet, right? Does anyone not know that that might make you healthier? It's very straightforward, right? And you'll see people like, okay, I'm going to start losing weight, so I better start going to the gym. But before I step foot in the gym, I'm going to research the best protein powder. And they spend weeks going down the rabbit holes, following all the health gurus. What's the best protein? And they know more protein than anyone knows about protein. Then they find their protein powder. It's like, that's the one. But I also better look up the best workout clothes and the brands and all that and the best kind of exercises. And you see all the different kinds of workouts. And they focus on all that. Now, does that help? Sure. Yes, but that's a problem that comes after you start going to the gym, not before. No? The immediate one is go to the gym. Once you're regularly going to the gym, then you can be like, okay, well, what about protein? Which one's the best protein? Okay, you can optimize your gym experience, but you don't do that before the gym. So notice how they take a future problem and they prioritize it over immediate problem. Key question once more, what's my version of that? Turn the mirror around. Okay, when you see other people having problems, that doesn't mean be blind to it. If there is something you can do to help, by all means do it. But be careful that you're not using it as a way to escape and avoid dealing with your own. And when you see someone messing up, the key question is, what's my version? Turn the mirror around. You should actually make this a habit. I do this every single week. At the end of the week, I want to say specifically on Sunday. Now, it could be Saturday, Sunday, sometimes Monday. But I try to do it around once a week. I'll reflect back on my week and I'll look for 3 mess-ups that other people did. It's very easy to see other people messing up. So I'll look at family members, friends, people I work with, clients, random people in the street, and I'll look for mess-ups. Because you don't have the same blind spots they do. It's very easy to spot. You're like, oh, if only they did that. If only they did, oh, why did they do that? So dumb. They should learn this. They should know this. And I'll write 3 down. And for all 3 of them, I'll ask myself, okay, cool, what's your version? Where are you doing that? That is a great way and an easy way to start piercing through some of the blind spots that we have, where we refuse to see our problems. We think we're so above it. You see someone even procrastinating, you're like, oh, they're so dumb, that's so easy. I don't do that you know of. Maybe you do it in a very subtle way. Just implementing that every week. 3 mess-ups, what's my version? 3 mess-ups, what's my version? You will learn so much about yourself. Okay, so keep bringing it back to you. And then the other thing you really have to accept, and this can sound a little harsh, can sound even a little dark, but it's ultimately very aligned with reality, is that famous saying, you can lead a horse to water, you can't make it drink. I'm sure you've heard that. You can bring a horse to the water, but then you can't take the horse's tongue out and be like, drink. That has to come from the horse. A lot of horses will never drink. That's life. A lot of people, and this is really hard, especially when it comes to, say, close friends or family members or loved ones, where you might find out about all this crazy advice. You're like, hey, just do this. Here's the water. And they just don't drink. And this will run people crazy. You'll see people spend their entire lives like obsessing over, it could even be a sibling or their parent or a cousin or, you know, their partner. And like, they should just do that. Why don't they? Why don't they? And they keep trying, what's the best way to reach them and to help them, et cetera, et cetera. Sometimes you just can't. And this is very important. Don't make the slurping of the water your responsibility. That is not on you, that is on them. For any of you too who are super on the more empathetic side, like empaths, it's really, really hard. If any of you are in a teacher role, very, very hard as well, because you put your heart and soul into helping people and you know that some just won't go for it. They just won't change. And you can start self-attacking, say, what could I have done more? Is it me? It's like, no. Some horses just won't drink. And that is not your responsibility. What is your responsibility? One, showing them where the water is. That is your responsibility. Just because the horse won't drink doesn't mean don't show the horse where the water is. I'm sure you're liking this part with the horses, huh? It's like, bring as many horses to water as possible. So if you have something that will help someone, show them the resource. That's your responsibility. But beyond that, the willingness to drink has to come from them. The willingness to change has to come from them. The other thing you can do, though, is lead by example. That is actually the best way. You want someone to start doing the work, do the work yourself. Versus, hey, you do it. Do you, and you'll see if they are ready, that will inspire them to do it. They'll know where the resource is, and they will be inspired. But even then, though, sometimes they won't. And then the question for you is, say that person were to never change. And again, this really applies to sometimes family members, friends, stuff. It's like, say they were to never change, could you still accept them for who they are? And then even going deeper on the idea of free will, that also comes to play here, right? You have the free will. Well, you could also go deep with subconscious. What is free will? But you have the free will to ultimately move up. But that also means you have to be okay with other people having that same freedom to choose to move down. What we do is we then try to play God. We're like, no, everyone should move up. Like me, move up. Hey, maybe the universe or whatever you believe in has other plans for that person. You have the freedom to choose to move up. That means you have to also be okay with someone having the freedom to choose to move down. And nothing you could perhaps say or do will convince them of the opposite. And then you could even reflect on, well, what does it mean to even help that person? Perhaps helping that person means accepting them for who they are and just being there for them in terms of who they actually are, instead of trying to fix them. Maybe that's actually the most helpful thing. Maybe everyone around them is trying to fix them. And if you're just like, hey, you know what? I'm okay with you being you. I'm here. I'm supporting you. How's it going? Finally, someone just being with me versus trying to fix me. Maybe that's helpful. And maybe that might give them the boost. But this is important, right? Be careful not to get too fixated on the other people, especially other people who will never change. And don't put that on you. For me, as long as I go above and beyond, I do everything that's in my power to help someone, a client. Say if later down the road they choose not to, that's on them. I will not lose sleep over it. Very hard to do. It's a personal boundary you must put on yourself, but otherwise it will drive you nuts. And I'm saying this because once more, in the self-help spiritual world, I see it way too often. People will get too hooked on it, or unconsciously they'll self-sabotage to stay at the same level, because they associate being successful as abandoning those people. Don't do that. Like I said, lead by example, inspire them, be successful, and don't hold back your potential because of something or someone else. Don't let anyone or anything block you from pursuing your dreams, even if it is perhaps a friend or loved one. Nothing comes in the way of that. Doesn't mean you can't do both, but a lot of people, again, focus on that, stay stuck, and then, here's the other point, the last one with this example, resentment will kick in. You think, oh, if I'm going to sacrifice a bit of me to help this person. Say you do it, eventually you're going to be like, you're the reason I gave up on my dreams to help you. And it'll actually poison that whole relationship or friendship.
But how do you let go of that?
Well, it's aligning yourself with facts of life, which is some people, they're going to come into this world and they're going to shoot down. And you're going to see it and you're going to be like, what are you doing? You're crazy. You'll see a lot of people very self-destructive. You can try to break them out of it. You can be like, wake up. Yeah. I mean, well, just think of it, me too. It's like a lot of, I mean, I've been teaching since 2010, right? So 12 years plus now, which is insane to say out loud, 12 years plus. And I do all types of events, right? I do free events. I'm really trying to help everyone, but not everyone is going to actually change. Like guaranteed, some of you here, you're on this downward path, and this might be a little glimpse of fake hope, and you're going to live this event and then just keep going downhill and end up in the gutter or worse. For real, right? And it's sad, it's terrible, it's horrible. Do what you can to break someone out of it, but in the end, they are responsible for their own life. And it's a few things to really help with that is one, like I said, stop playing God. And it's the same with adversity, right? What's adversity or a life crisis? It's when something doesn't go according to our plan. But how do you know your plan is the best plan? Right? A lot of times, the worst moment in your life, you look back and you're like, oh, thank God for that. Otherwise, it led to this. So perhaps, again, you're like, everyone should be like me or move up. Look, hell, I need to help them. No, maybe some people shouldn't be like you. Maybe there's another beyond your understanding plan for them. Who knows? So that helps. And then also it's like, give them the freedom. Otherwise, if you want everyone or impose everyone to move up, then there's no freedom. It's pure slavery. You're enslaving everyone to success, but it's still slavery. So it comes with free will and freedom, meaning choice to move up, but that means you have to also be okay with people choosing to move down, and no matter what they do, they'll move down. And then if there's still attachment or on your responsibility, it's letting go and severing that energetic or invisible cord. Yeah.
I was thinking about what you said about people that you watch them self-destruct, right?
Yeah.
You're trying to save them. That process itself is self-destructive. If you're trying to save somebody that's self-destructing, knowing they won't change.
If it's outside of your, so that's actually a great question. It is self-destructive if it's outside of what's in your responsibility.
Right, you bring the horse to the water, but if you go make it try to drink, that's self-destructive because now you're not busy bringing horses to water.
Yes, 100%, yes.
Right.
Yeah, so don't be like, come here to the water, and then you spend your whole life next to the horse, like drink, 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 drink. Yeah, no, 100%. Yeah, and then it's also asking yourself too, there's two things where, one, it's self-destructive because you're holding back your potential, getting myopic on that horse that won't drink. But then as he said, what about the other horses? You could spend all your time trying to convince someone, look at the help, or find people who are like, I'm ready for the help, just give it to me. Your impact is much more beneficial there. But then even on the helper side, it's breaking out that people pleaser. It's like, I can help everyone versus sorting through and finding the people who are ready and willing and then helping those people there.